After the monumental success of the Xbox 360, Microsoft was riding high on the console market. While Sony wasn't a slouch either, the rough launch of the PlayStation 3 and its complicated hardware gave Microsoft the edge they needed to pull ahead. But moving into the 8th generation, Microsoft wanted to step up their console game even more. While the Xbox 360 did have multimedia features, Microsoft planned to truly make their next console into more than just a gaming machine. The Xbox One, codenamed Durango, was first revealed on May 21st, 2013. The initial reception? Not so great. The press conference started with a focus on entertainment features. There's nothing wrong with that at all, unless you drone on about the television for 30 minutes straight.
Television, TV,
TV. Xbox is about to become the next water cooler.
This slow start really left a sour taste in everyone's mouths. So for E3 2013, Microsoft went all in on showing what this new machine can really do, by showing things that most gamers actually care about, like games. However, the Xbox One wasn't out of trouble yet. In fact, far from it. Ever since rumors of codenamed Durango began circulating, so did troubling news that this new console would be always on, requiring a constant connection to the internet. Additionally, the Kinect was now a permanent requirement, which a lot of people were concerned was always on, always watching. As you can imagine, this annoyed a lot of consumers, angering quite a few critics as well, and drew a lot of ire towards Microsoft. Rumors of excessive DRM also began to circulate, especially when Microsoft announced their initial licensing model. If the console couldn't connect to the internet once a day, you'd lose access to all your games. Yes, these offline discs that you bought with your own hard-earned money couldn't be played unless you had an internet connection.
It's designed to use an online state. We have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360. That's your message if you don't, if you don't like it?
If you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device.
This PR nightmare led a lot of gamers to jump ship to Sony's upcoming PlayStation 4, which, unlike last time, had a very competent reveal, with decent pricing to boot. Microsoft did eventually change their restrictive DRM schemes, all in a backtracking on the Kinect to always be plugged in. The damage was already done though. A lot of people mockingly call the Xbox One the Xbox 180 in reference to some of Microsoft's baffling decisions. But aside all of this, the system itself was a very powerful machine. Under the hood, the Xbox One is powered by an 8-core AMD Jaguar APU, with its GCN graphics core running toe-to-toe with mid-tier graphics cards of the time. The Xbox One has 8GB of DDR3 memory, alongside 32MB of embedded static RAM, with a much higher bandwidth. However, 3GB of this was reserved for the system, and as a result nearly halving what games could actually use. But remember, hardware is only as good as its software, and wow, the new dashboard was rough. Upon launch, the dashboard used the same Metro design language as seen in Windows 8, along with being based on it. This was panned by reviewers at the time, who remarked that while it looked pretty, essential settings were hidden behind numerous menus, some even accessible only through voice commands. Over the years, this greatly improved, with Microsoft eventually updating the Core OS to Windows 10, bringing universal Windows platform apps to the system. As for the Xbox Live experience, it was scaled up from what the 360 had to offer. A good improvement. But back to the one sticking point, games. And I don't just mean the availability and quantity of them, because those were great. No, I'm talking about the DRM. Dear God. Even though Microsoft backpedaled on their always online approach, borrowing game discs was still near impossible, and most games, keep in mind on disk, had to be downloaded and installed to even be playable. At that point, why even have a disk? And if you had slow internet or you're out of hard drive space? Guess you're just screwed. Now the PlayStation 4 didn't entirely escape this either, but at the very least, you could usually just put the disc in the console and, actually play the game you just bought. I think it's safe to say that the Xbox One was a disastrous start to Microsoft's new generation of gaming. Now it might seem like I'm picking on Microsoft a lot here, but at least it did better than Nintendo at the time. The Wii U was a wreck, and that deserves its own episode all by itself. As for legacy, the original Xbox One is in its sunset years. Quite a few developers are targeting the newer Xbox systems instead, such as Series X and Series X. However, there's still plenty of fun to be had with this console. As usual, most of the Halo games are great, GTA 5 is a blast, the controller is great, and the Xbox 360 backwards compatibility is mostly there. And that's a recurring theme for the Xbox One. Mostly there. A great system with misguided potential. It definitely wasn't a swing and a miss, but it wasn't exactly a home run either. But what lies in store for the next console generation? Will Microsoft get it together? Will Sony trip up with the PlayStation 5? Or maybe, just even, will Nintendo bite back of the Switch? Or will Valve join the fray? It's truly an exciting time for the gaming industry, and I look forward to seeing what comes out of this battle. I've been your host, Brayden, and now, I'm gonna get back to losing in Forza. See you next time. Hope it didn't just break that disc.